Forged with a passion for steel and an iron-like eye for talent. This is the Recruiter of Steel podcast. Blast right in 3, 2, 1.
So you want to attract the best of the best. You want the best salespeople for your company. You want the best inside folks that are beating everybody to the punch on getting the quote to the customer. You want outside sales folks that are beating down doors, meeting people in person, taking them out to events, and securing that contract right then and there. You want sales leaders that are growing their team, crushing their numbers year after year. Those are the folks that reach out to me. As the Recruiter of Steel, my focus is to headhunt specifically top salespeople in the metals industry. And right now, I'm going to share with you 5 tips on how you can do that yourself. So number 1, you got to pay to play. It's the name of the game, guys. You have to pay in order to play. If you want the best folks, you have to pay up. It's like in anything. In the NFL, you want the number 1 quarterback, you want franchise, you got to pay for him. If you want the number 1 pitcher in the MLB, show me the money. Number 1 shooter in the NBA, same thing. The best of the best know what they're worth, and they're going to ask for it. So if you're an organization listening, what does that mean for you? Well, it means a couple things. Number 1, don't skimp out on a base salary. I hear a lot of people say that, well, a true salesperson's only going to care about the commissions. And to a degree, that's correct. But also think of this too. If you're not able to demonstrate that your on-target earnings or your commission plan is going to achieve said earnings that you said, if there aren't folks already hitting those numbers, or if those are numbers you just kind of threw out of a hat, why would somebody believe you, right? There needs to be at least a guarantee, especially for that first year. So whether that's a base salary or a draw, you need to have a good amount of guaranteed total comp. Now, for a top salesperson, you need to be at least 20% above market, right? Bare minimum. So if market comp right now is $100,000 base salary, you are not going to pay less than a 120 for a top salesperson. You can't guarantee them less. Okay, unless you have an outstanding commission plan and a proven track record as a company, which will lead me to the next points. But so you need to guarantee them high total comp, at least 20% above market, and you can't limit their commissions. This is a big mistake I see companies say, is they say, okay, we have a base plus bonus package, and that bonus is capped out at, 10% or 15% of the base comp. Well, why would somebody want to exceed those targets, right? Once they hit that base that bonus threshold, right? What's the incentive to go above and beyond? Because ultimately that's what you're looking for, right? If you don't have a path to leadership, some type of progression path, why would I go above and beyond as a salesperson if I'm capped off with an end of year bonus? That's not as enticing. Unless the sky's the limit on that, which usually in the cases it's not, you can't cap a top salesperson. A top salesperson requires an uncapped commission plan, something that they could W to the highest in the company. And some people get a little bit intimidated by this, but I've spoken with folks at the right organizations where the top salesperson has earned more than the president. They've billed more than the president. They're making $400,000 or $500,000. Just the way it is. But those are top folks that are bringing in millions of dollars, and the organization wouldn't be where it is without those. So rewire your thinking if you want a top salesperson. Rewire the way you pay folks, right? Understand it's going to take an investment. You're going to have to guarantee some total comp, especially if you can't demonstrate how that commission plan works. But moreover, you need to, in order to incentivize them to do well, you need to pay a commission plan that is actually going to incentivize them to do what they do best, which is beat down doors, crush the phones, and earn you money, right? That's what you're looking for. That's what you need to give a top salesperson. Unlimited commission plan, above market on the base comp. You got to pay to play. Number 2, and this goes in afterwards, right? You got to be a top company to work for. Now, I don't mean paying for one of those lists where you're listed as a top company in XYZ state. It's not what I mean. What I mean is you got to have the reputation in the market. The customers have to say, yeah, we buy steel from XYZ company because they're on time. They know their stuff. There's never quality issues. They're always responsive. They're communicative. They give us what we need. They give us value adds, right? That's what you want to do as an organization. You want to invest in technology, in tools for your sales reps and other folks in the organization. You want to invest in your people, right? Learning and development, right? Maybe those courses on how to be a better salesperson, metallurgist courses. Invest in your people, invest in the tools and technology, invest in the sales tools to make your people more successful. Have a mission that is enticing, right? If you're just another steel distributor down the road and you say, hey, we want this top guy, what's the excitement behind that, right? What are you doing differently as an organization? Why should I want to work for you? What's the mission behind what you're doing? That's important. And you got to have the reputation to back it up. So number one, you got to pay. Number two, you got to be a top company to work for. And number three, which coincides with number two, you got to hire other top performers. Okay, the best of the best don't want to be in a room with B and C players. A players gravitate towards other A players. If you want to hire the best of the best, you got to have a team of the best of the best. Now, if you're just starting out, if you're an entrepreneur and you're building a team, you know what that means? That means you got to be one of the best of the best. The best attract the best. Greatness attracts greatness. Mediocrity attracts mediocrity. Poor performance ultimately will attract other poor performers. That's just how it works. If you want to attract top salespeople to your company, you have to surround them with people that know their shit. Just keep it how it is. Hire other top performers. Surround them with great sales leaders, folks that have crushed it in the industry, folks with tons of tribal knowledge. Surround them with operations folks that know how to get it done. Surround them with an inside team that is quick on their stuff. They don't need to be handheld and coached up. You want to surround them with top people. Number four, you have to headhunt, not just recruit. Now, I could be a little biased here, but as a headhunter myself, specifically for someone who targets salespeople in the metals industry, I can tell you the best of the best are not on job boards. They're not scrolling all day on LinkedIn, looking at jobs, reading your advertisement, scrolling through Indeed. To keep it blunt, most of the folks that are in that scenario are folks that are continuous job hoppers, folks that are not having success at their current organization, sometimes to no fault of their own, but many times because simply they just can't get the job done. When someone had 8 jobs in the last 6 years, you have to question yourself. And they come to you and they say, oh, I just need a chance. I just need a way to prove myself. Well, really? Because you had 8 chances in the last 6 years and you haven't been able to get it done. So you have to ask yourself this question. Where are the top performers? What are they doing? Oh, if they're a top performer, they're selling. They're getting the job done. They're in front of customers. They're on the phone. They're not worried about what you're doing in your internal recruitment practice, which is why companies reach out to folks like myself, folks that will actually pick up the phone and give people a call, folks that will actually proactively research a company, talk with folks, gain the internal knowledge from it, having conversations, understand, okay, these are the top 3, 4, 5 reps here. These are a good fit for XYZ company. This guy's a good fit for here. She might be good for here. I'm going to reach out. I'm going to pick up the phone. You're going to get a text message. You're going to get a call. You're going to get an in-mail. You're going to get an email. And that cycle is going to be on repeat until we have a conversation. That takes time. That takes effort. And for most internal talent acquisition, HR teams, you don't have the time, resources, and sometimes know-how how to do that. And that's okay. That's why companies reach out to me. That's why we partner together. But you have to headhunt if you want the top people. Okay. A lot of the times these job boards, what they'll yield is folks that are unemployed, folks that are constantly looking. You get the same recycled candidates in a row, and it doesn't lead to the results that you're looking for. You need to headhunt. Last but not least, you always have to be recruiting. You always have to be headhunting. Now, what do I mean by this? Let's say you had to fill 2 roles by the end of the year and you filled them. It's now November. The holidays are coming. Oh, this is great. We could kick our feet up, relax. But then you know what happens? January 1st, 2026. All of a sudden, you see yourself at the beginning of the year and you're starting flat. Other companies, let's say someone had a layoff. Let's say another company, someone left another job for a change in a comp plan, right? Change in management. Those are the top reasons why some folks end up leaving. If you weren't on top of that, if you didn't have a headhunter like myself or someone internal to go out and do it for you and keep those conversations rolling, keep candidates warm, keep a pulse on the market, you're going to lose out. You could have got someone with a book of business, someone with tons of contacts that's been doing it for 15 years, someone that maybe doesn't have a book, but they have a killer instinct as a salesperson. And then all of a sudden, you missed out because your competitor kept that conversation going, checked in on Thanksgiving, checked in the week before Christmas, took the extra step, corralled the team and said, hey, I know we're in holiday mode right now, but let's all hop on a Teams. Let's hop on a Zoom. Let's give this guy another shot. Let's talk to him. He's open. I heard he's in the market. And then offer letters out. First week of January, he's ready to jump ship. She's ready to jump ship. And then they stole that candidate from you, right? And sometimes that could be even your person, right? So when always be recruiting means not only are you keeping a pulse on the market, not only are you talking to other candidates and keeping those conversations going, even when you're fully staffed, quote unquote, keyword or hint, you're never fully staffed if there's a top salesperson looking. There should always be room in the budget for a top salesperson, not a mediocre, not an average person, a top salesperson. But anyway, if you didn't keep a pulse on the market, you could have lost out on that great candidate, or worst case scenario, you could have lost one of your employees, because always be recruiting or always be headhunting also means always be retaining your employee base, right? You always need to be checking up on folks. You always need to be investing in your people. You always need to be talking with your people, making sure they're satisfied. Is there any other way we could support your learning and development? Is there any other way we could make you happy and satisfied and thrilled to come and work here every day? Are we doing everything right by you? Do you have the tools and the resources necessary to succeed? Are we giving you the proper, whatever it is, right? It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, guys, look, top salespeople are not easy to recruit. That's why there's a fee with headhunters like myself. That's why it is a job in and of itself to recruit these folks. But when done right, it can be done. And when done, it could have a massive impact on your organization. So to conclude, if you want to attract top salespeople, particularly in the metals industry, but this could really be applied to anything. Number one, you got to pay. Pay a healthy total comp. Don't cap them on commissions. Number two, you got to be a top place to work. You got to invest in your people. You got to invest in new tools and technology. Stay up to date. Stay ahead of the curve. Have a mission, right? Make people excited to come into work every day. You also have to have a solid reputation in the market, right? Being a top company, you have to have a solid reputation. Do right by your customers. Service them well. Okay. Have people talking about you. The streets talk, right? Top salespeople, they probably are knocking on your customers' doors too. And if they hear, oh, do you buy steel from XYZ? Oh, no, they screwed me on the last one. It's a red flag. You don't want to do that. Number three, you got to hire other top people, right? Top sales talent, they're attracted to other high performers. You don't want to have a team of mediocre folks. It's going to be very hard to not only recruit top salespeople, but also retain them. You need to hire top people and make that commitment from day one. Number four, headhunt. Don't just recruit, right? Top salespeople are usually passive talent. They're not looking at job boards. You need to go out and proactively reach out to them. And five, always be recruiting. always focus on your employer brand, always be keeping a pulse on the market, always be talking with candidates that are in your niche, always understand the different organizational changes, right? Who had a comp plan restructuring, whose management has changed a bunch of times because there's some internal issues, right? Understand that, keep an eye on those candidates, and then also retain your current top salespeople, because if you don't do right by them, someone else is knocking on their door. Those are my tips on how to recruit top salespeople in the metals industry. Again, this could be applied to any industry, but particularly for steel, that is what we see happening on a daily. So if you are listening to this and you're a service center, you're a mill, stamper, fabricator, anything up and down the steel supply chain, and you're looking to grow your sales team, please reach out. Now, that is my bread and butter. As the recruiter of steel, I specifically focus on recruiting top sales talent in the metals industry. Those could be folks on the inside, outside, regional folks, national sales folks, middle management, director level folks, all the way up to the VP and CRO level. If you're looking to level up your sales game at the end of 2025, going into 2026, feel free to reach out. You know where to find me.
Thanks for listening to the Recruiter of Steel podcast. If you enjoyed our finished product, please subscribe and leave a rating. Thanks again, and we'll see you on the next one.